Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spin Rack, and we also have
Calvin Ellis ready to rock.
and our special guest.
Professor CA. You know what it is.
Here we go. So we got Cal and Professor, and we're gonna be talking about Cobra Kai. 3 seasons in the books, and we're waiting for the fourth one. And since Cal's been pushing me to watch it since it's been a struggle because it's been like my 80s comic books. It was very gut wrenching. It was almost like a what's it a classic, like a Greek tragedy. Cal, give us an overview of this series.
When we last left, all of the characters from Cobra Kai, things were really bad. There was a brawl for it all at the high school. Miguel was kicked and he was in the hospital. Okay. That other dude whose name I don't remember was on the lam. It was really bad. And they don't shy away from it. We start off and we're getting back to seeing where everybody is. Miguel's still in the hospital. Okay. Johnny's son is still on the lam. Okay. Johnny's out. He's over here drinking. He's feeling sorry for himself. Danny's daughter is over here. She's afraid to go back to school. And slowly but surely, these guys have to put their lives back together. And what is the fundamental thing that laces everybody together within these stories? You got it. Karate.
So,
Good stuff.
so with that said, for this season, and we also have an excursion back to Okinawa, where for me, the second movie, when I looked at the sort of flashbacks, I remember being in the theater, the sudden death match, and I was kind of iffy on it. And I think at the first time, but when I saw it on cable again, I was kind of like, I don't know about this thing. But they really, those characters, their characterization, their ability to tell some great stories, they brought it home, and they legitimized to where the series is a series. The whole thing, they brought in the third one, which is the roughest one in my opinion, because it was the roughest one for me, but the ending was so strong in the third one, and they used that for the fear aspect in the daughter, which was great. So there's so many things with the characters in here. So Professor, well, let me just give you a free hand. I'm not going to ask you. What are your thoughts on this third season?
Uh, Cobra Kai is crack. It's like you don't, if you, as long as you get started, you're gone. You are on that journey. Like I think I tend to watch it when it drops. So if it drops on a Friday, I kind of end up seeing it maybe Saturday morning, and then next thing you know, it's 2 o'clock and I'm done. And it's kind of like there it went. It was great. It's always very good. I think you spoke about the integrity to the original source material. That's always in it. This is Johnny's show. Johnny is just hilarious. What I mostly enjoyed was his kind of like redemption arc in helping to rehabilitate his student in maybe not the most smart way to try and kind of work with somebody who has like a spinal injury, but actually great results. So
Mm-hmm.
I think overall it was really cool. The youth are good in it. There's a lot of there's so many different characters you can kind of work with to kind of see how their story arcs move forward. But overall, my one of my highlight scenes was when he takes is it Miguel to the concert, to the rock and roll
Yeah,
concert. I thought
yes,
that was awesome.
yes. That was really powerful because we didn't know what was going to be the catalyst to get him to move again, and it was one of the things and that's the thing where I keep liking it to like the '80s. Well, if when you're watching something when you were younger, like when I was younger, and you could watch like the what is it? I keep going comic books. Let's go with the Blues Brothers, where the Blues Brothers are burning the candle on both ends, so you don't know, you don't want these guys to be beat up or killed by the cops, but they're living their life terribly. So I can't see what's going to happen next. And with Miguel, I couldn't see any way for him to get his legs back or something that would take his mind to detach from the stress of it to needing for it to happen and to get him in the proper mindset, because there is also the power of positive thinking. I mean, even my father went through bad car accident, but he said he never really thought about not being able to walk, even though he fell. He had those. I mean, he talks about it a couple times. My father talked about it a couple times when we came over, and he'd hear the phone, he'd hear the doorbell, and he'd immediately move to get it, and he would be like, he'd like fall right to the floor. So and that was, so it was interesting seeing that part, because that's definitely a part when you're starting to walk again. Most of the time we just see the person on the walker. You don't want to see the person fall on their face, but that is definitely a part of it where you just like react, and then next thing you know, something happens. So this a lot of heavy levels to it. And you know, what about what about Elizabeth Shue? It did seem like she was gonna be above it, but she showed up. What do you think about our girl, everybody's girlfriend, Elizabeth Shue? It's like
scandalous.
Nobody is above Cobra Kai. Nobody's above Cobra Kai. I think the only people who can't come on the show because they're totally different characters were the characters who were established in the film with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. Because they even discussed, hey, is there any way to get these guys on? And they said, no, these guys can't come on. These are just like totally different characters. They have nothing to do with this and that. And I thought that was great. They were like, no, that would be a bridge too far for these guys to come in. There's no way we can get them on, which I thought was a testament to the good writing that they had, because they wanted to get them to, we want to get him to Okinawa. Why? So we can get the actress who played, who was his love interest from the second film on the show. We're trying to get everybody on. Okay, how do we get there? Okay, how do we get there? And you can see they really sat down. It's like, okay, this is how we're going to get there. And I was like, yeah, that actually works. I was like, that's actually feasible at the end of the day. You have the ramifications from the fight. It affects the business. Okay, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go directly to the source and try to get it. I can't get anything over there. I'm going to go to Okinawa to see if I can try to connect with Miyagi. Of course, I'm going to meet up with the ex-girlfriend. What's more, I'm going to meet up with the guy who tried to kill me in a one-on-one fight. Okay, I'm going to get some new karate moves from him. And then the little girl who I saved when I was there, who everybody's forgotten about, is going to be the person who's going to assist me in saving my business at the end of the day. It's a real roundabout thing, but they make it work. And I love it when I love it when I see writing like that, where it's not just, okay, we're just going to throw this person on. So nobody is above appearing on Cobra Kai. But even they're like, nah, not everybody can appear on Cobra Kai. And we didn't get Elizabeth Shue until season 3. So yeah, that works out at the end of the day. I love to see you take Miguel to the concert, and it's just little stuff because, what is it? He's got that trainer, or that guy's trying to work with him, and he's doing all the new age woosah nonsense. And I'm not saying that stuff doesn't work. I don't know anything about it, but that part over there where you need the right sensei for the right student. And Miguel, everybody's there, they're talking to him, they're saying this stuff, and none of that stuff is resonating with him. Johnny comes in, pretty much calls him up, look, you little pussy, get up out of that bed and start walking. And he can't do it. But that's the first time you see anything resonate with him. That was the only person and the only action where he genuinely believed this person wanted him to walk and was capable, okay, of whatever he was doing with it was going to be capable of getting him to walk. And then the last thing he does when you finally see the foot moving and everything is, what does he do? No more training. I'm going to just take you out so you can be a kid. You can just be a kid, have some fun, have a little music. We're just going to go hang out. And in that, finally we see some reaction to it. So just really good writing at the end of the day. Yeah. Petey, points out great characterization. I'm more into plot at the end of the day. So regardless, whichever side of the fence that you fall on, it's all there. And of course you get a great synergy. You get a great synergy out of the whole thing. And, it's just entertaining from start to finish. You got some punks out there who are like, oh, this is a guilty pleasure. It's like, no, this is actually good television. I wish there was more stuff like this. Not all television has to be, say, Game of Thrones or, we got to have highbrow stuff. It just has to be good. And this sets out to do exactly what they can to the best of their ability with this storyline, these characters. I'll still help people. Oh, well, the kung fu, right? That's what the kung fu looks terrible. Well, one is karate, and two, these people just learned. What is it supposed to look like? They're supposed to be flipping off the wall? I was like, no, people complain, oh, we want realism. But when you get realism, oh, it's too real. We want some, Jet Li, Jackie Chan moves at the end of the day. They just, I give them a lot of credit for sitting down, really thinking out this story. And I'm sad to say, I think season 4 is probably going to be the last season. But, again, just really great craft, really good workmanship in terms of bringing this together. And well, the only thing I waited to watch this because Petey was like, he didn't get around to it yet. I was like, no, I need, I'm gonna wait till you to finish watching this, and then we can definitely talk about it. So what happened? Like Petey just like, oh yeah, I'm watching it. Okay, great. And he was like, I'm finished. Oh, what do you mean you finished? I didn't even get a chance to start. So I waited for him and then had to play catch up.
Well,
it was great.
Yeah, it was for me. It was similar to, it's what I liked in watching my movies and my comic books, to have some worry about the character, that element that's in the Batman TV show that, as a kid was like, is he gonna make it out? And then you say, okay, then when you get to see the rhythms of it, then you can predict the sort of thing. But I don't think as a kid, I kind of ran out of interest in that. And then when I read the comic books, it was always interesting seeing, seeing that aspect of seeing a character not just be about, okay, here's the villain, and then Spider-Man has to beat up that villain. That got old really quickly in the 80s for me, and that was like 9. So then you go to this, it's like, I don't want Daniel to be the bad guy, but I know how actors are. Actors are like, I want to do something different. Maybe what's the name? Maybe Ralph Macchio is like, hey, I can be the bad guy in this, and it seemed like he was going to be that, but then it's like, no, going to the things of being centered, and that's what about character. The story is set up that Johnny's building up his thing, and then the character in there is like, this is going to Daniel's ego, but then at the same time he has to remember what Miyagi says, and he has to focus, and he has to maintain balance, and that part of the characterization is what they remember. So it's like all this great stuff story-wise, where you're like, okay, in the 3rd season, everything's going bad. This kid got not even his kid, caused this injury to the other kid. So when they have the thing about the business is bad, and that rival comes back, that Daniel has that moment where he has a kick, even though it's the ego thing, it still look cool. So then when this guy come, he has the win. I got this paperwork, you have to take it. We're like, okay, this is not gonna happen. As a viewer, we're like, this is not gonna win. But then the guy who works with him is like, telling the side, no, there's no chance. Like they already got the contract. You're gonna be closed down in the next couple months. And I was like, oh, so that's where you go to the story stuff. And then when you go to the character where Daniel goes out there and fails, and then going to the town, you go to town where he was at, that's all commercial. So it's like, we know he's gonna run into, or we hoping he runs into the girl, but we also have the heartache of that this town, this beautiful town, is now commercialized, and they're having to play to the tourists. So then when we get to the meat, we're like, they've added so much story in there where we don't have to sit around there waiting for the girl, like saying, hey, where's the girl? Where's the girl? We got all this cool stuff happening, and we have a different type of, like aspect to life, where the two characters that Daniel knows in Okinawa, they were kind of characters that haven't found a mate, but they're seemingly content in their lives. Where the Daniel and Johnny are kind of more like the trying to outlive, like trying to surpass their past, like saying, I was good in high school, but I never peaked after that. And it's like, I did this. I did the business at I did the karate. I won the tournament. I defended my title. I got this car thing. I still need to beat Cobra Kai. So it's like these things where the other character's like, I never married. He's like, I never married, even though the Daniel's rival in Okinawa, and now he's kind of like, he comes in there and he has all this energy against him, but he's good in his business. here, what do you want to drink? They, no, you don't have to get that. Yes, I will get you something to drink. I'll be right back. It's like, no, you don't have to do that. It's like Daniel's trying to play to that you don't have to do anything for me. Like we have all this beef. Like, no, I have to do this. And then they kind of, after the fight, and he shows them things that Mr. Miyagi, and that's the other cool thing, having your father figure, not having to show you everything, just say, hey, use this karate for defense, and then having this thing, have another cool thing to set up for the next thing, and that element that was in the first movie, that they had this trick that no one knew before. So, but yeah,
like the Miyagi way, there's always an extra trick. There's always one more thing, I got the the magic palm in the first one. Now I got the drum technique. Then I got the we got the special kata in number 3, and there's always something else. Miyagi's always got something else coming out. Like, hey, there's gonna be some magic scroll 100 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I guess my last thing, because I could go on about Daniel and Johnny being being a jerk, but like a jerk with a heart. That character that we saw at the beginning of the Karate Kid, with Johnny. I guess at the end of the first Karate Kid, where Johnny sort of says something to him, and then he has this moment where Kreese kind of is a total a-hole to him outside the car and that sort of thing. So we kind of okay with Johnny at that point. So he hasn't lost his total being a jerk, but he's trying to figure it out. And we can see the mistake. He's still making mistakes. He still rounded out his ex-wife, like giving her some good moments. And then the kids, they're the best kids on TV, because I struggle with the miniature adults. And these kids are real kids. They make mistakes. They fall into their fears even when they already overcame. And those are more like real people. Instead of saying, hey, I won, now it's over. Nope, you still got another semester, new people to come in there. And, the relationships you make, even with the nerdy kid, where the person that he was only, helping her, doing her homework, she has a moment with him and that sort of thing, where you can have, and she's still, and that's the thing that people don't like, the thing where she's terrible to him, even though she's kissing him. It's like, nope, I don't, you're like, you didn't see me, that's nothing. I don't like this guy at all. And he's still like, I don't care. I'll take whatever I can get, and that's the real kid thing, where they'll take that early relationship, where we're not looking for, I'm going to marry her and she has to be great to me, You can be trashy to me. It can still be fun,
Yeah, it definitely got messy toward the end. If we want to talk about that kind of stuff, it got a little messy there with Johnny's love life. I think we got to give props. We got to give a lot of praise to Miguel's mom.
Oh,
Miguel's mom is awesome. He did get messy there with like the old flame and that. And shout out to Johnny GTD. You know what it is. He did what he had to do, but it definitely, I like that it was resolved fairly quickly, because it was starting to get messy at the country club with like Johnny and her, and I was like, where are they going with this? Because it's just like right when he connects with Miguel's mom, now it's like the love of his life comes back into picture, and I think it played out pretty fairly, where it's kind of like he was able to put it in perspective. Was he going for his? Yes, but once they actually kind of talks. This is just kind of, she was going through something. She was in a rough spot. He's in his process, but she's kind of like, she helped get him from jumping off the cliff. I'm like, look, bro, you're good. You have somebody. Be happy. I'm proud of you. But it was kind of almost like, ooh, this is going to be messy. But they kind of curved that, which I was happy for. And solidified the fact that, which is something I still love to watch, is that Johnny and the Karate Kid are just best friends. They love each other, and they should be together as much as possible. And it tends to be when they're most balanced that they're friends.
Well, there's a rough part of being like almost like a buddy comedy, but they've been smart enough to piecemeal this up until now, because they, like, most of the time way shows work, they do, like, if it's a long show, or even like the spouses of the shows, they buddy them up all the time. You're like, oh, like what you see, what is that thing? What's that thing? Power. Like Power. Mm-hmm. You've seen that show. The family, the white guy, his wife Tasha, they're like a unit. And then as the show goes, that unit is totally broken, and we get these new relationships, but it's not as interesting when we get the
Mm-hmm.
moment where those original characters are back, but then they're trying to kill each other, and that's like no fun. But where this, they've been trying to kill each other, and then slowly they've been bringing them together. So when they had the car ride together, and they still can't agree on anything, that's when you have the buddy thing. They always turn into, they weaken it into like a love fest. Where this is, they're still going to have some rivalry and cursing each other out, and someone running out, and someone making a mistake, and that sort of thing. And even when you do the right thing, where Daniel did the right thing with John, with Johnny's son, that is what he's going to hold over Daniel's head, that he called the police on him, which he
Mm-hmm.
ultimately kept him out of in less time. So yeah, I think it's great to see that they connected, but where they've been able to do the story, they've been able to really kind of find the highs and lows, and really find a real conflict instead of trying to sort of make things up. Like they've really been, it's all seeming that very natural and real. So
Yeah. And what do you guys think they're gonna ultimately call this new dojo they got going on? Like you see where everything is heading. Like, is it gonna be Miyagi Do? Is it gonna be Cobra Kai? Is it gonna be some
Miyagi Do Eagle. Well,
some?
Eagle, that's what we fight on. Eagle Miyagi. The Eagle is a bad name.
Mhm. Mhm.
Miyagi Claw.
Hey, Miyagi Claw. There we go.
There you go. Okay, you heard
Miyagi
it here
Claw.
first.
No, I was watching the show, and the parts that I like best is when they're giving each other the gears. They're like, man, these guys just really don't like each other. And then they're like, oh, but you guys work together and this, that, and the other. And I don't know, it's like the animosity between, it's like the animosity between them is almost like, for me, it's like, I don't know, 100%, where is exactly this coming from? The fact that you guys, keep wanting to give each other the gears. Then I remember all the stuff that's happened on the show that they blame each other for.
Yes.
Okay, and it keeps happening. Well, you're responsible for this. Yeah, because you did this. Well, you did that. Well, and then it goes all the way back to the first scene. Well, you were over here with this girl. I didn't know that was your girl. All I saw was you ran over the radio. Well, you shouldn't have gotten involved. Well, you did this. What do you expect me to do? And it runs all the way up there, and to the that scene with Elizabeth, really to the last scene you see Johnny come into the dojo, to Miyagi Do. I'm not sure how that works out at the end of the day. The scene with him and the scene with him and Elizabeth Shue, though, with Johnny and Allie, I actually like that scene. I thought, what do you do in that situation? For all intents and purposes, that was the biggest relationship of Johnny's life. That was at a time when he's riding high. He's in high school. Everything's clicking on all cylinders. He obviously still liked her. A whole bunch of unresolved stuff. And then it's one thing if it was just on his side, but you also see it with her. So, where does that go except the natural progression where it can go at the end of the day? Thankfully, they're both adults. They realize, got other stuff going on and it doesn't get consummated. But I thought they handled it pretty well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
But and they did also resolve the energy between them, which was kind of like Allie kind of like broke it down to him. It's like, and the wife, and Daniel's wife broke it down to him. You guys are your anger against each other basically because you guys are the same person, or you have a lot more in common.
yeah.
I think you guys are much more similar than you guys realize until the wives bring that balance and smooth them out and get them to sit down and kind of kick it.
Well, the when they went to the Spanish restaurant, and they have Johnny and Miguel's mother where they're there, and she's okay with them sitting there, and the wife, Daniel's wife, that's where her character really comes out, of kind of pushing past this karate beef every time they get together. And then they're at the table, and they're like, "Hey, you want to go for another round?" And Johnny's like, he said, "Last time I went 4 rounds with the rules, I got kicked in the face." And it's like, so, yeah,
That's what's up.
so it's definitely, they, when you have storytellers, and you see Ralph Macchio, both of them are like exec producers on this, and them being able to take their characters to task, not to protect their characters, be able to say, I can I can really push my character beyond without losing the character. That's a hard thing for an actor, because most of the time they'll be like, like Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. Like, I just need some more shots of me. Wouldn't this be better if you put more shots of me dancing in this thing? Or I don't want to see me losing. I need to be winning. Like, why is this in there? That sort of thing, where these guys are both able to really let their characters, not necessarily, and they're not necessarily even evolving. They're letting them, challenge them and then find different ways to either react positively or negatively, or that's even with Crease. We didn't go to Crease. I guess that'll be the last point to say that even though they're giving Chris the sad moment of Crease where he was living, they give you his past where they introduce what he was like. That doesn't change anything about his character, and that's what I'm saying. It's cool that you have this thing that's his past that's kind of led him this way, but don't change anything. They're not trying to say, all right, now we're gonna get him off the hook. He's like, no, he's terrible. And he's using Johnny's son against him at his son's lowest point to show up there like he's totally, taking advantage of a situation. And we can't necessarily relate that to the struggle that he had when he was in the army. He's just being just a terror. So that's the cool part. They're not trying to sort of say, well, he did this because of this. Like, no, at this point, he's totally off the rails. And he had someone that believed in him, and he was like, no, I want to bring it back to where it was. The same guy that, was like, get the second round to the second prize championship out of here. So, yeah, I think his character really, it's been interesting to have him back in this show. So
his origin story was badass.
Yeah.
To kind of see the roots of his martial arts and with the no mercy part of the rules kind of come with origin and stuff. Now, yeah, that story was super cool. But again, it didn't take away from the fact that he is a villain.
Yeah.
If anything, his job is to lighten the load for Johnny. So you just like, nah, officially Johnny's not that kind of worked it out. And yeah, but he is solidified.
And I love the fact that he's a villain in the classic sense of a villain. He's the archetypical villain. He's not redeemable. Okay, I don't have to empathize with him.
Yeah.
I want to see this guy defeated. I want to see.
So,
humble cast. At some point, they are gonna make him even more human. I'm sure. I think he has to remain ultimately the villain, but he's going to be a little bit more brought into the ensemble cast a little more. Like, oh,
he's not. He Johnny already let him try and come in, and he already blew it. He's not gonna let him in again. It'll be the three of them. He'll be with that other. They bring that other crazy kid from the Karate Kid 3, the guy that called Mr. Miyagi, your Jap teacher. Like, wow.
Yeah. Well, he's coming. Cal, you said this was going to be the last season. What made you say that?
Because all the plot lines that they have, that they could possibly have, are almost resolved. Mm-hmm. There's only one or two more the premise of the show is that there's a bunch of stuff that's still unresolved from what we saw through those Karate Kid films. Not just with Johnny, but also with Danny. Mm-hmm. Okay, and slowly but surely, all of those are being resolved. You only have 2 or 3 more that are unresolved, and most of them are going to be resolved with that coming tournament. So, that's pretty much where I'm looking. I mean, if they decide to go a season after that, I'm not sure how well that works, because again, the writing has been very strong and they've made very good decisions. But myself as a writer, I'm looking like you only have a couple more avenues open here if you want to end this successfully. And you can always do the TV thing and say, hey, look, we got to do another season. Why? Well, look at this money. Okay, but we already had that show on artistic integrity, and right now these guys have shown a lot of that in terms of putting together something that's very, very strong. Okay. Mm-hmm. And not necessarily going for the low-hanging fruit. They've actually done a good job of making a lot of this work. So I can see a season 4. If they see a season 5, I don't see it. But I don't see, season 4 would be a great place to wrap at this. I mean, because you still got some people you can bring in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I say season 4. I agree with you. They should do one more season and wrap it up.
But then, who do you bring in the next one? Do you
the same person you said?
The next Karate Kid?
No.
Bring in
a good one.
Hilary Swank. We got to get our Hilary Swank in there.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I haven't watched that in a while. I need to rewatch that movie, or do I? I don't know.
I've never
You,
seen
see,
it.
you saw that movie?
I don't. You know what? I think I'm lying. I don't think I ever saw it. I was like, did I see it? No, maybe I don't think I ever saw it.
Oh, you saw it, but you're taking it back?
Maybe. You'll never know. You'll never know.
No, I never saw that film. I get what is it? I had to whenever it does come up, I have to defend Karate Kid 3 for the ending. I was like, look, at the very least, we got a good that ending with the last fight and everything of that nature. I thought was still pretty much classic Karate Kid stuff, even though the rest of the movie was. I was like, oh, I was like, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. We're going hunting for bonsai trees. I'm not. I'm not sure why we needed this. Why we needed this, but still works out. I thought it still wrapped up pretty tight in the end at the end of the day. But yeah, see, definitely without a doubt, see a fourth season. Again, I don't see anything past, past the fourth season. But Kreese, which is what we started on. No, Kreese is again that classic villain. Okay, and the classic villain doesn't necessarily. This isn't like how they want to do villains today. Like, oh, well, you know what? He's kind of good. So, we like him. So let's soften him a little bit, sanitize him around the area, and then we can bring him in and, we can keep him around because he's not actually trying to kill as many people as he did before, but he's still a little, be a little, he'll be able to do stuff here and there. So we don't know exactly what he's going to do from time to time. No, Kreese is the classic villain is that he believes he's right when he's doing this stuff. It's not like, hey, no mercy, and he's just like, I'm just saying it. He genuinely believes it. And we see that in all of his actions. Mm-hmm. All of them. Everything that he does is towards the end of what? Benefiting himself. Okay. And why does it have to benefit himself? Because again, he's not showing any mercy to anybody. All of this is for his benefit. So getting the kids in, making Cobra Kai successful, even when he goes and he threatens, Tori can't pay the rent, so he goes and threatens them. Why? Because he wants her on the squad. That makes him stronger at the end of the day. And the stronger he is, the better front that he's going to be pulled. But that for me is just a classic villain. And I love that because instead of feeling, man, is there some way you can work it out and this, that, and the other? Like, no, you just want to see this person defeated. And after they're defeated, you don't care if you ever see them again, like they used to do with villains. Beat them and then just forget about it.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing, yeah, I think they definitely should probably wrap it up next season because I love, but I can also see myself getting tired of the finale throwdowns, the finale cage matches or house matches. I think I could do that one more again, and then I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. So we covered season 3 of Cobra Kai, where Johnny doesn't have Cobra Kai anymore, and we're waiting for the next season. And they've been doing great stuff. We only expect more great stuff in the next one. Spinner Rack
Out.
out. All right, y'all.